You ever feel like your creativity is just stuck in a fog? That no matter what, every time you sit down at your hobby space, you kind of just feel stuck in the mud? Like it's just a challenge to pick up the brush and start something or finish something. Yeah, me too. Let's talk about hobby burnout, loss of inspiration, and why, despite all that, I'm still excited to create.
Sometimes when I scroll back through my old videos, it just kind of sinks in just how far I've come along in this miniature painting journey. When I first started out, I thought it was going to be a really fun hobby, and I thought maybe if I get halfway decent at it, I can start a YouTube channel and share that hobby. I never really thought that I would be a teacher, and I don't necessarily see myself as one, although I have taught some painting classes over the years. You know, when I look at some of my old projects and I see all the things I've painted and the growth and the mistakes, the weird experiments that worked out. As I've always said, painting through a mistake is oftentimes the best way to learn. One of the projects that always catches my eye, whether it's in my display case or I'm seeing it in my own feed, is the Eye Tyrant. If you're not familiar with it, it's by Gale Force 9, and it's one of my favorite models. And unfortunately, it was a limited run, so the one I have is probably the only one I will ever have, despite the fact that I would love to have a few more. I painted the very first one off camera years ago, before I even thought about doing YouTube, before I was even running my hobby store, before I was a truck driver. I painted it for a really good friend of mine. They weren't really sure how it went together. The model doesn't really come with great instructions. And they figured, well, if they didn't like what they got, then they could always repaint it down the road later. Little did I know, they were gonna love it so much and give me so much encouragement about starting a YouTube channel that it kind of changed the direction of my plans for the hobby. Honestly, looking back on it, I'm not even sure if the hobby store would have existed. I remember when I was painting that model originally, that I was thinking about how much fun it was to paint a gaming miniature, something I had not done at that point. It was my very first commission. And when I repainted my new one years later, it really sank in just how much I had evolved as a hobbyist and how much I had grown and all the skills that I had learned. You know, both my old projects and many of my pile of shame projects, especially these days, are a constant reminder as to why I wanted to start a YouTube channel. Whether it be simply so that I can grow, or I can help others grow, or get people interested into the hobby, they're a constant reminder of all that. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Another model that really stands out was the bust of the death corpse of Krieg. I painted that one initially on TikTok Live and kind of tried to make a video about it here on YouTube. And the overall success, regardless of platform, I feel is often another reminder of how much growth was in between when I started and that model. A little history, I actually allowed the chatters who were watching to pick out the colors and the range of highlights for that model. And I learned a lot about leather especially considering this was one of the largest miniatures I had worked on at this point, and if memory serves me right, I believe it was my first bust. And I learned so much about leather in just playing around with that model that it ended up being the foundations for how I do a lot of my leather now, regardless of color. It's funny how sometimes when you're painting a model, your brain instantly realizes, oh, there's something clicking here. Even if you're not 100% sure in the moment if you're heading in the right direction. Like I've already said, sometimes painting through what you think is a mistake oftentimes is how you grow the most. Lately though, things have felt a little foggy. And I don't think it's bad or hopeless, just foggy. I still love painting, I still look forward to painting, I still love and look forward to making videos, and I still get excited by various ideas that just hit me. More often than not, I find myself staring at a miniature and thinking, is this good enough? Will people enjoy this? Should I bother turning on the camera today? And I'm gonna be honest with you, I've been second guessing myself a lot more lately. It's strange how videos that I feel like I lovingly craft and pour my heart into do okay. And then again, the ones that I slap together at 2 a.m. magically become some of the best performing content, which I guess is helpful. Much in the same way stubbing your toe in the dark teaches you someone moved the furniture around. And somewhere in there, between the fog and the second guessing and YouTube's constant persistence of feed the algorithm, I started feeling this worry creeping in, like I can't keep up, or I'm gonna lose momentum, or I'm gonna lose some of the growth or relevance that I've had along the way. And that's leading me to a type of burnout that I don't think a lot of people experience unless you're also making content. You know, sometimes through burnout we can learn something new about yourself, but this is a type of burnout where I don't think you really can learn anything. You either push through it, get over it, whatever the case is. But I find myself sometimes sitting down at the desk wanting to paint something, and it just feels like I'm staring at a metaphorical wall for 10 minutes. And the thing is I'm not even sure if it's burnout. I think maybe more of what I've been dealing with is just a lack of inspiration. Yeah, I'm still coming up with ideas for videos, but those ideas maybe felt good when I wrote the script, and then I start second guessing myself as I'm making the video, and I lose steam along the way. But then again, maybe a lack of inspiration and burnout can oftentimes be the same thing. And while those two things, the lack of inspiration and burnout, can a lot of times feel like they're the same thing, they aren't, but they more oftentimes go hand in hand. To me, burnout is when you want to create, but your brain kind of just goes, nope, absolutely not. Sit down, relax, do something else. We're not doing this today. Whereas a lack of inspiration is quieter, softer, more like you're in a fog, where the ideas are kind of there, but they're just out of reach and you're not really sure how to get there. But throughout all that, I still feel hopeful, both as a miniature painter and as a content creator. Because when I look back at things like the Eye Tyrant and the Death Corpse of Krieg, or any of the other busts, or the non-metallic metal, or the foam core buildings, or even just the little tiny treasure chests, I see growth. I can see my own passion, and I can see every step that got me here. And I hope that you guys can do the same when you're looking at your own journey in the hobby. But I think all this teaches me one important thing. It's that despite the fact that I feel my spark is fading, it's not gone. It's just waiting for me to pick up the flint again, so to speak. Find something that inspires me, reignites that flame, and gets me going again. So here's me being transparent with you. In the months going forward, there probably will be months where there are no uploads. I was trying to maintain a schedule when we first started of uploading every week, and I thought this was what the algorithm wanted. I've recently learned that I trained the algorithm to expect that from me, which has resulted in the few times where I couldn't upload every week. I feel like the algorithm was punishing me, and it probably was. And as I've dialed things back to once a month, there's been times where I can't keep up with that. Life is what it is. I've got some health issues and I've got some family stuff going on that is going to get dragged out for a while. And, that's just the normal run of the mill for everyone. So there's going to be some months where I don't upload. And that doesn't mean that I'm giving up. It just means I need a little bit more time to put out a video that I feel the quality is worth putting out. I know last year I said it was the year of quality over quantity. This year I think I really need to put that into practice. I've had a lot of great ideas over the last couple of years, but I haven't really put the effort into making the type of content that I set out to create. I just made videos. And to me that's two different things. It's the difference between phoning it in and actually putting some serious effort in. I want to get back into creating for the love of creating. And that's not to say that the things that I've made over the last year I don't love. I've loved almost every project I've finished, and I've learned at least something new in every video. But sometimes I have a hard time putting that into words, and I don't think all the videos land the way that I want them to. So I'd rather take a little bit more time, even if that means that I have to start over on some videos and re-record the whole thing in order to make sure that the video I want to put out goes out. This channel and the community that is growing within it really means a lot to me. I know that some of you have come from the hobby store, some of you have found me naturally, some of you I have sent here through other media, whether it be on Discord or a Facebook group or whatever. And although I don't get consistent comments like other content creators do, I do know that quite a few of you are watching consistently. And I'd love to thank you for that. And I hope that I will continue to see you guys in future videos. So yeah, I guess you could say this is me admitting that I'm still figuring things out. Who would have known that several years later I wouldn't have things down yet? But that's just how it is, I guess. And although I am doing a bit of wandering, trying to find out who I am as a content creator, I don't think wandering's all that bad. Maybe finding a new path is the way forward. And I don't think I'm gonna find that without wandering. So, well, in any case, I've rambled on long enough. Thank you guys so much for being here for this amazing journey. And I hope you too can look back at your time in this hobby and see the moments where you've had the most growth and can see how you've ended up where you've ended up. And I hope that that inspires you to keep pushing forward and trying new things and finding new reasons to continue to love this hobby. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. And as always, may your display case always be filled and your pile of shame never run empty. Till next time, Happy New Year's.